Exactly 1 month ago today, on June 8th, Sushi Strikers hit shelves for both the Nintendo Switch and Nintendo 3DS. And on that same day, Nintendo provided me with a review code of the Switch version to review on my channel, and they said do it within 2 weeks. It's been exactly a month and I'm late. Sorry, Nintendo, and also sorry for everything else I'm about to say in this video. Y'all ain't gonna be happy with me again. It's Xenoblade Round 2, where I take a game that I'm given and I look a gift horse in the mouth. However, I will say, as some of you may have already noticed, review code doesn't exactly translate to a physical copy. Just like every time I'm given a code from Nintendo, as much as I love you guys for giving me the codes and please don't stop, I still have to go out and buy a copy. I'm a collector, it's a habit, it's an addiction, leave me alone, don't judge me. So whenever I say Nintendo provided me with a code, it's sort of a formality. Just remember that I actually go out and buy these, so I have the same buyer's remorse as all of you if I feel like it's not worth the price. And that's the first thing I'm going to be tackling today, is the price of this game, specifically on the Switch version. And don't get me wrong, I love sushi. In fact, I just ordered sushi and it's being delivered to my house any moment now. And that would have been a perfect moment for the doorbell to actually ring. Are you kidding? Well, sushi's here.
Time to get my sushi!
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, sir. Here you are.
Thanks.
Thank you. Between 1921.
1921? Is
yes,
that
sir.
with tip?
No. Let me grab you. I actually give you change, actually. You're good already.
Okay. That's with tip?
What?
You got tip on there already?
No, this is a cash order.
Okay.
Yeah, so let me grab. Let me get some change in the car for you, okay? I owe you
Okay.
80 cents.
I mean, that's fine. Don't worry about
You're
it.
good? That's
Yeah.
Alright, thank you, man.
Okay.
Have a good one.
Now, as I said, I love sushi. In fact, the Philadelphia roll is by far the best sushi in the world. I could eat this stuff all day every day. I would never strive for sushi, I would just eat it. But $50? Do you know how much sushi I could buy with $50? I could buy like 9 of these. That's a lot of sushi. Anyway, my point is, 50 for this game is too much. It's what a lot of people were saying. I was happy to go out and buy this for 50 because it does look like a very polished game. It has anime cutscenes in it that they've clearly worked on. In fact, depending on if you play as a guy or a girl, you get different animated cutscenes with the character you chose. That, as well as a bunch of what I saw as very polished gameplay, I was eager to go and buy this physical. In fact, when I finally got around to live streaming this game a few weeks later, I actually put a possible hidden gem in the thumbnail, but at this point I'm kind of thinking the only reason it would end up being a hidden gem is because no one wanted to pay the price tag of 50, which doesn't make a lot of sense when it's 40 on the 3DS and the game is exactly the same. Now, I've been trying to justify the Nintendo tax price tags as much as possible when it comes to Switch releases, apart from some cases like Kirby, where I just cannot justify that game being $60. I, for the most part, even with the ports from Wii U, have been backing Nintendo, saying these games are worth buying a second time, even at full price. But Nintendo, you're making it a little hard for me to defend you in a case where you release the same game on 2 of your systems on the same day and charge $10 more for the Nintendo Switch version. You can't tell me a Switch cart costs more to make than a 3DS cart. The cases are around the same size, the carts are around the same amount of plastic, and it is the same game. In fact, if anything, at this point, programming for the 3DS and the 2 different screens has to be harder and take more time than programming for the Switch. So why charge that $10 more? Other than the fact that you know people are gonna want the Switch version in HD and play on their new system, and you can get away with charging that extra $10. But honestly, if I break this game down to its core, it's still not worth 40. A lot of people are likening it to mobile games and saying if Nintendo wants to dive into the mobile market, Sushi Striker would have been a great game to put free on the marketplace and have in-game purchases, or maybe a $5-10 mobile game. Now, I wouldn't go that far because because it is a really fleshed out game for what it is. But the way I look at this game, I think it has a home on these systems, the 3DS and the Switch, but I don't think it deserves a higher price than a lot of these third-party games that are coming out for the system. There are a ton of third-party games coming to the Switch in game stores that have just as much love and effort put into them. I did a whole video about it. Games around the $30 to $40 price tag like Owlboy, like It'll Do Too, like Darkest Dungeon. There's so many games, fully fleshed out, amazing games that are coming out at that $30 price tag from indie companies that can afford to do it at $30. So Nintendo, why can't you afford 30? Or at the very least, 40. Why that extra 10? But it's not a bad game. It is really fun. It did miss a few steps though, in my opinion. For example, the main draw of the game is the puzzle mechanic where you're stringing together a bunch of sushi, making multiplier combos, and then throwing attacks at your enemy. However, I do have a couple of complaints about that. The first one being those parts are so few and far between, and they only last a couple minutes. The anime scenes are awesome, the writing is awesome, the voiceover work is awesome, all of that is awesome. But there's so much of it before you manage to get into a battle that will only last you a minute or two. By the time you feel like you've really gotten into the battle, you've landed a few combos, you've built up a few special bars, and you're really ready to start unleashing havoc on your opponent, suddenly they collapse and it's over, or you collapse. Maybe you get caught off guard and you lose, but the rounds don't last that long. So playing the story mode, as much as I enjoyed the story, it became a lot of button mashing for me to try and get through all of the text. Sort of reminding me of the Mario Tennis adventure mode, except the actual Mario Tennis segments were at least lengthy. And the other issue I have is with the core mechanic of the gameplay, linking the plates together. It's more frustrating than rewarding. A game like this should become easily addicting because you're stringing together all of these combos and you just can't get enough. Every time you put your hand to that screen, it feels like you're pulling off amazing strings of combos and throwing them at your enemy, but that's not really what ends up happening. Especially when you play with a controller. You have to play this game in handheld mode. You absolutely have to. I tried playing it with both the Joy-Cons and the Pro Controller, and I felt like I had no control over the game. The sushi comes in on these conveyor belts in such quick zigzags that when you're trying to line up a toggle and you want to hit one of the rows in the middle, because of the way that it's zigzagging and crossing, you'll hit up on the thumbstick wanting to jump up a row, but because that plate moves so quickly, you'll accidentally jump up 2 or maybe even 3 rows, and then you gotta try and go down and then back up, and by the time you finally hit the plate, it's off the screen and you missed the combo you wanted to go for. And that was constant. Even when I felt like I got good at the game, I still couldn't get precision with the toggle, so I scrapped that, pulled it out of its dock, and tried doing it manually. And while it was a lot easier, especially when you start utilizing the holding down technique and trying to bounce from plate to plate, again, the plates move so quickly, and right from the beginning, there are so many different colored plates that it makes it really hard to link together combos more than 2 or 3 at a time, which definitely adds to the challenge of the game. It makes it harder, and possibly it even makes it more balanced, but the drawback is when you can only link 1 or 2 plates at a time, and you're constantly wanting to go for those bigger multipliers, unless you use your special ability, which changes all the plates on the screen to one color, and you can finally get that satisfaction of linking more than 5 things together. Around that, you just constantly feel like you're struggling. You constantly feel like you're losing. You never really feel like you're on top. At least I didn't. Maybe I just sucked. But I never got that satisfying feeling of playing a puzzle game and playing it well.
It is really hard doing this on a Pro Controller, like I'm not even kidding. To the point where I feel like playing something else and playing this later in my own time. Although I did just get pretty good at the end there.
Like, I want to say this again, it's not a bad game. It's a really nice polished game, and the puzzle mechanics are unique. Everything about this game is definitely unique. But is it $50 unique? When I'm sitting there playing the core gameplay, hours into the game, trying to link together a few plates, with the gameplay not really having changed or evolved much from the very first battle I ever did, and feeling restricted in what I can actually do constantly, I start thinking about that $50. I start thinking about other Nintendo games like Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild and all the crazy things you can do in that game. The never-ending fun, the never-ending adventure, flipping around, twirling around, killing this thing, finding this weapon, combining this with that, unlocking new abilities 80 hours into the game, just a never-ending adventure for the price that I paid. And then I think about spending $10 less on Sushi Striker and trying to get together a few little plates to have a sushi strike. Or even the third-party games on this system, which are cheaper than this right now, games like Skyrim. But this really fun, enjoyable, polished game, which is that close to being extremely addicting, shouldn't be $50, and I would highly recommend waiting for it to come down in price before you pick it up. As I said, I was provided with a code, but I also went out and bought it, and I think I'm done with it. I really haven't played it all that much, but I don't feel like I got my 50 from it. I really don't. But that's just my opinion, and I would love to know what you guys think. Let me know down below. Subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Here's the top comment from the last video, and oh boy, it was a good one. Click this video right here, because I'd really appreciate it, and you probably haven't seen this one yet, and what are you waiting for, man? That was a good one. I don't know what video I put there yet. Oh, and if you want to win this game, the competition ends soon, so you better hurry up.